Okay, this video is an introduction to the online divorce lawyer service for California lawyers. So obviously you can pause this video and read what's on the screen now. What I'm going to do during this video is to lead you through a typical case flow of an online divorce lawyer uncontested California divorce, all the way from the time that you are retained and paid through account creation, client interview, completed document download to your device, either in batch mode or single document mode, and management of the case by you through your download panel and control panel. So sit back and we will do all of that. Keep in mind that while this video hopefully will contain a lot of information that you find interesting, there's nothing like hands-on experience. So what you can do to get a little bit of hands-on experience is to come to here to the top page of Online Divorce Lawyer, scroll down to the bottom. All of this stuff here is business to consumer. You can take a look at that. Click lower right on the lawyer page. Then once again, and this is all business to lawyer, business to business information. Some of it is of interest. Scroll once again all the way to the bottom. That's me. You can come back and read about me if you wish. Scroll all the way to the bottom and we see one of our sandbox accounts that you can actually log into and play around in, edit and change data, download to your machine. You can log in either as the client or as the lawyer, so you get both perspectives. You can see exactly what your client will see when he or she uses this software. So let me explain a little bit here. If you're going to log in as the client, then you would come to this address here, and the credentials you would use would be this user ID and that client password. That will log you in to the Online Divorce Lawyer software as the client. If you'd like to log in as the lawyer, you would use this address, and the credentials would be the same user ID, of course, but instead of the client password on the lawyer login portal, you would use your assigned lawyer password. This one for one of our fake lawyers for these sandbox accounts happens to be Bob1234. So good to actually get your hands on and see what this is all about. Okay, let me get out of here. Okay, this is a sample microsite of an online divorce lawyer. Robert I. Powell is not a real lawyer. We just use him for demonstration purposes. What this essentially is a microsite, very small, 3 pages basically, and it's designed to be a portal for your clients in the instance where your firm's regular website is a full service website or offers a number of different legal services in different legal verticals. It's a good idea not to confuse your family law clients, particularly uncontested clients, with a full service website. If you have a full service website, something like this would be recommended. We would keep your logo, your coloration, your photograph if you wish, your blurb. You can put your own content here, we'll put it there for you. This home button, by the way, would link to your firm's regular website. so that this is an extension of that website. If on the other hand you have a pure family law website for your firm's regular website, the only thing you really may need to do is to strategically position this button somewhere on your firm's regular website. It could say client login portal or client login, something like that. And when your client clicks that button from your firm's regular website, right, they don't come here. Instead, they go directly here where they would log in. Now, I'm not going to log in just yet. I told you we'd be starting from the beginning, and the beginning is how would you create your client accounts on Online Divorce Lawyer. So you can go to the microsite or directly to this client login, depending on which one you have selected to proceed with. You would drop your cursor to the bottom, and you'll notice that when you place your cursor over that footer, it's a link. You click on that link, and lo and behold, there is the lawyer login to Online Divorce Lawyer. You can see that the main difference here is you're able to log in to two separate locations, namely your download panel for obvious purposes, or your control panel, which is sort of the bird's eye view of all case data, all your client interview pages. A lot of different things can be played around with there. A lot of utilities, a lot of features. I'll get to that in just a moment. Right now, we want to drop again with your cursor to that footer. Again, it's a link. You click on the link, and here is your Online Divorce Lawyer account creation page. The first question asks if your client is a petitioner or the respondent. It defaults to petitioner, but this works equally well with respondents. These two are not yet active, the bottom two. They are the beginnings of our AI divorce mediation tool, which is going to be integrated with Online Divorce Lawyer in the not too distant future. So we're going to leave that as petitioner right now. Enter your lawyer password. I think it was Bob1234. You control all access to your client's ODL accounts. In the first instance, you do that by assigning a password to your client at accounts creation. So what I'm doing here is just typing in the word password. Okay, that's your client's email address for the receipt of the account opening email. This last question asks whether this will be a pro se case or you will be the attorney of record. It defaults to pro se. You can change that later in the case, and ODL will print you out a fully completed substitution of attorney. Okay, so we're pretty much going with the default settings. I've put in a nonsense keyword. You would certainly want to give your client a stronger keyword than that. So then you would click on create your client's account. Let's get out of that stuff. Here is the screen you will then see. Here's your client's user ID. Here's your client's password. Here's your client's email address for the receipt of the account opening email. No email goes to your client without it going to you. These account opening emails arrive pretty quickly here, so let me just see if it has arrived along with a bunch of other stuff. Okay, right here is the client's copy of the account opening email. As you can see, it's all the same data that I just showed you. There's a user ID, password. This is the link that the client would click on to go to that client login portal I showed you before. We'll be doing that again in a moment. Here you can see that there is also another email in. That's because I've got I've got both the client's and the lawyer's emails coming to the same box, but this is actually the email that you would receive at your designated email address, your copy of the account opening email, same user ID, same password, and this link, if you clicked on it, would take you to the lawyer login portal, not the client login. Just to demonstrate the client login portal here, you can see when the client clicks on that, it takes them directly back to the client login portal. Not going to log into the account I just created because it's a blank account, there's nothing in it. So I'm going to log into that sandbox account I showed you earlier. Pretty sure that was the user ID. Password was guessed. So this would now be your client logging in. Now on each welcome page of the interview, your client will see, of course, a lot of proprietary information for yourself and your firm, top and bottom. On every page is an appropriate welcome. Underneath the welcome is a list of the best actions that are available at this stage of the case, always with the best one highlighted in yellow. On the left is your client menu, which is basically a list of all of the interview pages that the client will be asked to answer. The interview is highly interactive. We do not waste your client's time with information that is not needed. Just an obvious example of that, if the client indicates that there are no minor children, then of course we don't have these minor children, addresses of minor children, basic child support. None of those pages would be seen here in a case with no minors. Okay, let's see now. When your client first logs in, very first login, right? Case is blank, case is empty. None of these boxes would have X's in them, checks in them to indicate that your client has already completed them. This would be totally blank, no data, zero. This link here would say begin interview. You would click on that. The client would click on the begin interview link and be taken to the very first page of the client interview, which is this. Again, always a welcome, an appropriate welcome. We have built-in help throughout the interview. When you see one of these exclamation points, which is something perhaps a little more significant, or one of these question marks, your client can click on that and see a context-sensitive bit of information or advice. The interview is full of those. You get an idea here of what this looks like, and there are essentially two ways to go for your client to go through this interview. She can either, perhaps the most logical way, fill in the information requested and click on one of the next buttons. On every interview page there's a next button, top and bottom. What that does is to check that all this data is complete, saves that data, and physically moves the client to the next page. Now we can see that all this has already been filled in, so if you click on the next button, clearly it would take you to the next page, which is my spouse partner's name, Secondly, the client can click on any page directly and go to that page. Okay, missing address information. I'll show you that in a moment. You can click on any one of these pages. I'm just trying to find one that's instructive. Let's go to my employment, and then she would be taken directly to that page. Okay, In preparation for this video, what I did in advance was to come into this Sandbox account and go to the respondent's address page and delete his state of California designation and his zip code. I then saved out of that, and what that did was to cause certain other pages. Remember, I told you this is very interactive. Certain other pages that depend on data entered here won't then work, right? Court location was the prime one. We can't tell which courts you could file at until we have all of your address data. So back here, also when you come to a page that is only partially complete, and you'll know that by the lack of a check mark in the box. See how court location also now has that, because I went to court location and triggered the removal of that check mark. Okay. When you come to a page that is partially completed only, it will tell you right here in red error messages what's missing, and then lower down it will show you with red asterisks where it's missing from. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, let's say the client didn't know the zip code in Hemet, so she's gone away to find out the zip code. I'll restore that state. A Hemet zip code is 92343. If you want the respondent's street address, residential address, to be the same as the respondent's mailing address, you can click that little box there. It populates that for you. You can see that the red error messages have disappeared because now everything is complete. I really want to go directly to that court location to fix that, but I want to show you one other thing. I'm going to check next, right? It'll take me to the next page, which you already knew was residency, right? And you'll now see that the respondent's address box has a check mark in it. It's complete. Let's keep going with the next button, and we'll get to the court location page. Brand new court in Menifee serves Hemet, so there that is. And then you can either click next, or you can click on any other page, right? Let's go here, and we want to see that box next to the court location page get completed, right? And there it is. So when you can look up and down that menu and see that everything is pretty much done, what the client will need to do then is check her interview. So she would click on that link, and basically three things are going on the check your interview page, which is the portal to attorney document review. That will bring you into the case. Your client has completed her interview. Your client data gathering time has gone to 0, right? You don't have to mess around with that stuff anymore. Three things going on here. It's checked to make sure that the interview is complete. We pretty much knew it was. It is checked for any time-critical issues. There aren't many of these, and perhaps the best example is if you have a minor child that is, I don't know, 2 weeks or something away from his or her 18th birthday. That's something that the client needs to be aware of, and you're advised about it also. No time-critical issues in this particular case. The third and final function on this page is that this section checks to make sure that certain critical issues, and they do differ from case to case, have not changed since the client finished the interview. Now, we know this client finished the interview about 45 seconds ago, but she may finish the interview and go away for a month or 4. So when she comes back and checks the interview, these questions will be asked, and she'll be asked just to confirm that those critical issues are still the same as when she finished the interview. Okay, proceed to attorney document review. This is the box that your client will read, And at the same time she's reading this box, you are receiving an email that tells you that your client has finished the client interview and she is ready to move to document review. This triggers you to download the first batch of documents, review them, check your case strategy session with the client, make sure that everything has gone according to plan, get in touch with your client, of course, discuss any issues that have arisen as a result perhaps of your review of the documents, and make arrangements depending on where the case is being filed, how the client wants to handle it, whether the package you've sold that client includes e-signing and e-filing or not. You would then proceed accordingly, and pretty much obviously based on what has to be done. Okay, let's see. Attorney login is what we have not yet done. 29176. Log in to the control panel first. It really doesn't matter where you log in first here. I'll show this in a moment, but if you log into either side, you are one click away from the other side. So you can log in here, think, oh, thought I'd remembered the 2, 3, 4. You can log into the control panel and see right here, go to download panel. You can go right back there, and on the download panel I'll show you is a button that'll take you right back here. Okay, this is sort of the nerve center, the hub of the case. You can resend the account opening email. You can send private messages to your client. You can look at your past cases and the leads that you've got from Online Divorce Lawyer. All of the case data is located here in terms of what's happened and what hasn't happened. Keep in mind that this case is a sandbox account, as I keep on saying. It's publicly accessible, so lawyers have been in here. If occasionally you see something that's a little bit inappropriate, but everything looks pretty good here. This tracks the interview page progress. You can click here and go directly to your client interview pages. Whole bunch of data, ability to change data. Every one of these pieces of information is a link that goes back to the interview page that contains that data. Sometimes if it's a fairly straightforward issue, you can actually change the issue right here on the control panel. In other words, let's say your client calls in and says, okay, my husband will cooperate with a marital settlement agreement. Great, you don't have to go to the page that contains that request because it's a simple request. You just change that from no to yes, save the MSA section, and you can see that this case will now have an MSA generated. Okay, let me see. I want to show you definitely download. Okay. Again, on the download panel, you've got your basic case stats here that you would enter as you proceed through the 3 different batches. The 3 different batches are, you could guess them, first filing batch, second batch is the petitioner's preliminary disclosure and the service of process, or perhaps more accurately, obtaining jurisdiction batch. Third batch is the petitioner's, in this case, default and judgment batch. Let me demonstrate batch downloading first. A couple of choices here. Download my form suitable for physical filing basically means you get a batch that contains 3 copies of every document appropriate for traditional over-the-counter type of filing. If you're going to do e-signing and e-filing, if you have a third-party service that does that for you, that's part of your package, then you would click on the e-filing, and you'll get just one copy of each document. You see there are 20 pages in this particular first batch. These documents, and you can experiment with this on the Sandbox account yourself, but you will see that these documents, even if I say it myself, are very well and completely prepared. Everything is done. There are no loose ends. Furthermore, if there's anything that is idiosyncratic to your firm or to your practice, you can tell us what that is. A number of online divorce lawyers have done so, and we have customized their batches and downloads to what they want. So that can be done usually quickly, usually within a day or two. Okay, so as you can see, this is a case with waiver of court fees requested. All of that's completed. Like I told you before, your client data gathering time goes to literally 0, and your document preparation time goes almost to 0, and I'll show you shortly what I mean by almost. Okay, that's the first batch. Let's go back. Return to welcome is usually a pretty good thing to do to reset everything. All right, so you've downloaded the first batch, and your office dog has eaten the petition. So you don't want to do the whole batch again. You can just come to first batch, single doc download, click on petition, and in this instance it just gives you one option to download one copy of the... I'm incorrect. Okay, I haven't done this for a very long time. Looks like it has done how many copies? Okay, it is a 10-page petition. It's one copy, but you can see that it's suitable for back-to-back printing. We have blank pages where, just in case you want to turn on your printer's local back-to-back printing, you don't have to do that. You can just remove the blanks. Okay, that demonstrates the single document downloading. Let me just drop down for the sake of completion here. Okay, we're looking now at all of the documents available for third batch single document download. Almost anything. Just pick one at random, just so you can see that this, it obviously works. It works all the time. This is bulletproof. So there's an income and expense declaration, and that demonstrates that. All right, let's get out of that. There's really just the one thing I want to show you now. I'm going to return to welcome, just to point out that if they've been requested in this case, marital settlement agreement and stipulated judgment are listed under document downloads in the client menu. There they are. Kind of fortuitous, because I actually changed the MSA requirement back on the control panel, if you'll remember. I didn't really intend this to happen. So that's good. There's an MSA available because I said there would be. And let's just demonstrate the marital settlement agreement. These take a little bit longer to download than the PDFs do. Microsoft Word a little bit slower. But as you can see, the marital settlement agreement is in Word. It is fully editable. This is what I meant earlier when I said that your document preparation time goes almost to 0. As you can see here, clients rarely enter correct legal descriptions of things. So you can either adjust that back in the client interview, and then it would print out correctly here, or you can come right here and say, 1976 Toyota automobile license number, blah blah blah, subject to all encumbrances thereon. Right, so if you type that back into your client's interview when you were doing the review, that would get printed out right here as you see. I just typed it. Otherwise you have to do it at the MSA. It works either way, your preference. My preference here is I don't like to have lists of one item. So what I would probably do is take this entire thing here and I'd move it, now possessed of the 76. I've lost my numbering system here. Right, so I'd do that and move the description of the vehicle back into the body of the paragraph that confirms it as the wife's separate property. Okay, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. I think I've showed you everything on my list. By all means, if you have questions, you can either email me at peter@onlinedivorcelawyer. I'm trying to find where my okay. Yeah, you can email me at peter@onlinedivorce.lawyer, or you can contact me also at 1-800-738-3764, which happens to be 1-800-PETER-O, Peter OH. All right, I hope that this has been informative and has helped you along the path to your decision to sign up for online divorce lawyer service. Thank you for watching and listening.